When working with faculty to help prepare for the digital transition for fall 2020, one of the things they found most useful was actually seeing fully flushed out courses within an LMS. It helped them to see how other instructors are organizing their content, how they are delivering and structuring their course content and expectations. It also helped them to get new inspiration for different ideas to implement in their own classroom. And to that end, I want to share with you my Biomechanics 322 course that I teach at Chico State. So I want to give you a course tour and go through what I am doing and why I am doing it, and also show you every detail of my Blackboard learning management shell, and hopefully you could take some inspiration from this. If you do, let me know down in the comments below what you found particularly inspiring or useful that you're going to try to implement in your class, and I'd love it if you liked this video and subscribed to the channel. There's going to be more and more stuff like this coming out, and I can't wait to work more closely with you. Let's go ahead and dive into my biomechanics course. Okay, so we're here in the main Blackboard page, and one of the first things I want to show you is that the course I'm going to show you is actually right here under this prep area. And now why this is significant is when I build out my course within a prep area in Blackboard, it allows me to reuse that content every semester. And I can make all my changes in that one prep area on Blackboard and then copy it out later. And this saves tons of time from having to recreate a Blackboard shell every single time I teach a new class or every time I have multiple sections. So I really encourage you to build your shells in a prep area so that you can continue to iterate on them every semester and as you go along, and then save yourself time at the beginning of the next semester by just being able to copy it into the main one. So we're going to look here at my Biomechanics RLV, which stands for Remote Learning Version. You'll notice that I have 322 up here. That is my face-to-face version from previous semesters, but with the online transition, I had to create a new shell. And one of the first things in here that I really like and I want to highlight are these slides at the very beginning. Now, this was inspired by Dr. Samara Anarbeva at Chico State in the Journalism and PR department. She was using this in her class, and I just thought it was such an amazing idea that I wanted to implement it in mine. And so when students come into this learning area for this class, they're brought here to this welcome page, and you'll notice this really nice graphic here at the beginning, and there's slide controls down here. They can navigate through this slideshow on their own, but I actually have it set up, and I'll show you here, that it rotates through these slides automatically every 5 seconds, which I think is powerful too. So it's like a nice little presentation all in one, and the cool thing is you can have a video in here. So that wasn't me doing anything, it just automatically slid through, but I embedded a welcome video. So the first slide that transitions to is a welcome video. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like. Hi, my name is Dustin Backey, and welcome to Biomechanics 322 for this fall of 2020. I want to just take a moment and introduce myself and welcome you to the class. So as you can see, I was able to create a little video. They're able to play it right there within Blackboard, which I think is really cool and really powerful. So I'm just going to press play and let these slides continue to rotate through and show you more of the things I have in here. So this next one, this is an image to get them to their lecture content. My students watch a series of small videos each week that I call lecturettes that help them get the content. So this is the link to their content videos. And so if they click on this image up here, and it tells them click on the image above, it actually takes them to the website where they can get all of their course content. So having this easily accessible was huge. Now when we go back to the main page, not only was this link available within the slides here, but it's over here on the left-hand side where they could click here as well. So they don't have to only go through these slides to get there. But I wanted to make sure their course content was easy to access, and coming straight into Blackboard, they'd be able to do that in 1 or 2 clicks. So as we continue to go through here, the next slide is actually going to be a course overview. So this is going to be a video similar to this one, but broken down a bit more specific to my students. And it will be embedded right here, and it gives them an overview of the course structure and why I'm doing what I'm doing, which is especially important because the majority of my students have never taken fully online classes and they are used to face-to-face formats. So introducing them to what this class looks like, the structure, and why I chose that structure is very important, and I wanted that here at the beginning. The next slide that you'll see is tailing off that course structure in terms of the weekly schedule and links. And what this is this is a class that meets for lecture 3 times a week for an hour and a lab once a week for 2 hours. And so the way I am structuring my 3 lecture courses are the lecture meetings are optional synchronous meetings. So we'll come together and we'll have certain goals or do certain activities during these times. Now, a couple of these throughout the semester are mandatory where I do take attendance, but for the most part, they're going to be optional. So my Monday format is going to be a weekly overview and prep where I discuss the big ideas, things I want my students to learn, common hiccups with the assignments, introduce their assignments, kind of set them up to succeed for the week. That's the point of those Monday meetings. And they can simply click that Zoom room to go right in. So again, another powerful interactive slide to help students get to where they need to go with easy visuals. Wednesdays, I'm doing watch parties. Now, it's a YouTube link, and what this is I'm going to stream their biomechanics videos on YouTube as an unlisted video. And so students can click this link, come in on Wednesdays, and watch the videos with me and with their peers. And what we're going to have is we're going to have a collaborative Google Doc notes page going, so students can take notes on that collaboratively and use that at the end of the session. But also we can pause, we can rewind, and I can touch on topics that I want to go a little bit more in depth with students. So this is optional. They could watch these videos on their own, or they can come in and watch them with me and their classmates. Finally, Friday, this is an open discussion, kind of wrapping up the course content, asking any questions they have. All of my due dates are 11:59 p.m. Sundays, and I'll show you more about that here soon. But this allows them to ask any other questions they have before we go into the weekend and just solidify their content and knowledge. Okay, so the next slide that we're going to look at is similar. It addresses the lab. So I'm going to press play, and again, this would normally cycle through. I'm pausing these things so that we could talk about each slide as we go. This one is a bit more complicated, and again, I want it to have this visual structure so students can better understand the format of the class. And this is our weekly lab schedule and links. And now each of these 3 labs has 15 students in it. And in order to promote engagement between themselves and with me and help establish connection, the way I'm actually going to run these labs is I'm going to break those groups of 15 students down into 3 groups of 5. And what this allows is it's an ongoing group of students to collaborate and work together. So they're able to forge connections with a smaller group of students. And in this online space, that's really critical for establishing those connections. So they'll be assigned to group 1, group 2, or group 3 at the start of the semester. And the cool thing about this is if those groups aren't going well, I can change them up as we move on. Or if they're going great, I could leave them be. But so this slide allows them to get right into their group rooms during their designated time. So they can see that here on the Mondays from 12 to 1:50, the Zoom rooms are right down here. The Zoom room for group 1, 2, and 3. And from this slide, they can simply click on their group Zoom room and go right to that Zoom room. Again, really fast, easy ways for them to work with the materials and get to those Zoom rooms. I want this all to be fast and easy to navigate for my students. With this, they're going to be in these groups, but I'm going to spend 30 to 40 minutes specifically with each of those groups during this time frame. So again, that allows me to work very closely with a small set of students, which really helps drive engagement and connection and helps them with course material and that need to ask questions and converse in a smaller group with me, the instructor. So over this 2-hour period, they might be working with their groups for longer amounts of time, but I'm going to work specifically with them during a specific time frame in that small group. And then with all of these Zoom links, one of the other things I'd like to point out is that up here are all the Zoom links as well. So again, 2 spots that they could get to it. They can come right in, go through this PowerPoint slide, wait till it rotates and click in there, or they can come right over here to this section, which will have all the Zoom links laid out, labeled clearly, and they can click right into any of those areas. As we play and go forward here, the next slide that they're going to see is actually my office hours slide. Again, students ask when the office hours are all the time, and so this allows me to have it nice and clear and obvious, and again, clickable appointments. So the Zoom room appointments, they can click right here, but they'll also be over in the Zoom links. And then I'm going to have open Zoom rooms, but by the necessity of private conversation that needs to happen a lot of times during office hours, is I've set aside some of my office hours to be by appointment only. And in order to avoid endless scheduling emails and allow students to know when and where I'm going to be and have a private Zoom room, I've actually used Calendly to help integrate to my Zoom. And so if they click down here, it takes them to my Calendly page and allows them to schedule out a time that works for them, and it just automatically adds it to their calendar and my calendar and creates a unique Zoom room specific to this appointment that you just click on from your calendar to go there. So it's nice and private. No one is going to be hopping in on it like who shouldn't be there, that sort of thing. So it's a really powerful way to run office hours, and it's at their fingertips. They can just schedule as they need on my calendar. The next slide that is coming up is actually going to be a link to our Slack channel. Now, you may have seen my video and it'll be up in a card up above this, but casual connection is so important to drive student engagement and connection within a digital classroom. And the way I have chosen to do this is through a Slack channel. Now, a Slack channel is like a discussion board where you could instant message and private message other members, but also post open groups. Now, I am not going to use the Slack group for formal class announcements and things like that, but I will be available in Slack during my office hours. So if they aren't able to come in or don't have the bandwidth to come into a Zoom room, they can access me live there. It also is a faster way to ask questions rather than an email, and I could actually create a FAQ section, so frequently asked questions, that I can post up and they can go to get their questions answered quickly. They can also answer each other's questions, and it's a place to kind of talk about anything they want. They can talk about the course while they're watching videos, ask questions of other students, or they could talk about who their favorite Pokemon is, all here in the Slack area. And again, one simple click and it takes them to that Slack area. This is a necessity, some sort of casual connection in all of your online courses. I chose to use Slack to do that. As we play the slides, the next one here, I use a unique type of grading that you'll see here in a moment called specifications grading. And this usually takes a bit of an explainer to students, and I do that in the first week, but I'm going to create a secondary video here that they could come in and watch and get a review breakdown of how I grade and how they could succeed in my course. So again, right here at the top, really important information. The next slide is a course tour. So similar to this, but scale down quickly. I want to show my students how to navigate and find all their course materials. I don't want them to get lost in these digital spaces that I've created for them. So there's going to be a quick and easy course tour to show them around. Something also very important to give to your students. And that's it. And the really great thing about these slides is if I go over to the Google Slide document and make a change, it immediately reflects here on Blackboard, which I think is really powerful. So if I need to change my office hours, I can just edit it in the Google Slides and students will automatically see the most updated times, which is really cool. So again, this is a great idea to take your course to the next level. And if you're wondering where I got these slides that look really just killer, it's from slidesgo.com, and they have all these different templates that you can use for both Google Slides and PowerPoint. So the next thing I have here on the welcome page, right? We're still in the welcome page, and there's a wealth of resources right away. The next thing that I have down here is my syllabus. So you can download it, and this nice green arrow says it's nice and accessible for my students. And we have alternative formats that they can use right here, but they can download the file, or this is an idea courtesy of Chen Touche from kinesiology at Chico State. He showed me how to do this in terms of embedding the actual Microsoft documents within Blackboard in a way that is interactable or like interactive right there in Blackboard. So we're here in Blackboard, they can actually see my syllabus. And again, here's all that important information. We're posting this information. As of right now, I've shown you 3 different spaces that office hours, Zoom links, etc. are posted. And that is helpful for students. It makes it so students don't get lost in these online systems. All the hours, Slack, office hours, everything right here, right out the start. I have my student learning objectives right up front. I really like having my 4 basic learning objectives right at the front of the syllabus that I could expand on later, as you'll see. And then there's the rest of the syllabus content, course resources, technology, the online classroom, again discussing what this course will look like in its format, my grading, structure, course assessments, how I grade, policies, all that kind of stuff that goes into a syllabus. You might see that I've used these boxes to help highlight things, and this just breaks it up, and I actually find that students read more of my syllabus when I used and started implementing these just nice boxed frames around the text. It kind of highlights different areas and helps break up the reading and make it more engaging. Got my schedule and just all those different policies and everything. So again, this is right at the very beginning of the course. The next thing I want to show you is the course content. And from this main area, it's pretty smooth, right? There's not a lot that you could go to. There's the welcome page, which we're on. There's those links that I showed you. And then there's course content. So again, students aren't going to get lost right from the beginning. Now, the course content, the first thing that they see is this download and embedded Excel file, which I call a module map, and I want to pull that up in full to show you here real quick. So the module map, and what this is it is a schedule that I use for students to stay on track in my course. We have kind of a synchronous asynchronous blend here where we have these asynchronous weeks, but synchronously we're all working on the same thing each week. And so I give them a checklist, and everything all semester long is due Sunday nights at 11:59 p.m. for each week. And why 11:59 p.m. rather than midnight? It's not that big of a difference, but a lot of students and a lot of people just in general have trouble understanding when midnight truly is. They're not sure, was it midnight this morning? Was that today's midnight? Or is it midnight tonight as today's midnight? So 11:59 p.m. just removes that possible confusion. And the default time setting in Blackboard for due dates is 11:59 p.m. So you'll save yourself some clicks by just saying 11:59 p.m. and make it easier on your students. So one consistent due date all semester long. At the beginning of each one of these modules, I have the specific module learning objectives, and then I have the dates. Very clearly complete the below tasks by August 30th, 11:59 p.m. The theme, the goals, the big ideas for the week are right here so students can know what to focus on and which of these above learning objectives are we going to be focusing on this week. So all of these learning objectives tie back to those main 4 from the course, and then they're broken down into these different modules and weeks. And then I use a nice little color coordinating, and I have the key in a couple of places. I have the key over here, and I have the key at the bottom. And so green is an optional attendance date. Red is a required attendance date. I really want to bring those out quick so that they can see red means that I need to show up at a certain time somewhere. Blue is something that they need to complete, like an assignment or a task. Yellow is a video they need to watch. And orange is a weekly challenge that I'm going to implement this semester to kind of give some lighthearted engagement type opportunities. And it can earn them a token in my grading system, which is a way that they can revise a assignment they didn't get credit for, or turn something in late, or they can use tokens for a number of different things. So we kind of see our basic structure. We have our dates over here. We have their expectations to meet on this module and what they need to do. So they can literally print this off and use it like a checklist, and students do. My students use these as checklists, and since I'm not in class with them, able to talk with them as often, I actually decided to add these little note sections, just so that what I normally tell them in class is still available to them. So the first week is kind of interesting because it's getting set up on our technology, it's doing introductions. It's not real representative of what the rest of the course might look like, so you'll see that it's kind of like blue, red, green, yellow, blue, orange, like read, attend, watch, complete, challenge. Like, it's not as consistent of a system, but after that I move into this more consistent system where I list what they need to watch first and tell them how long it's going to take them to watch those videos. This helps them plan out their week. I have their optional attendance days and their required attendance day. And these you'll recognize back from that slide at the beginning where Monday weekly reviews are on Zoom at 11 a.m. and they're optional. The lab sessions, not optional. Wednesdays and Fridays are optional. So basically, for the most part, the weekly lecture sessions are going to be optional, and the lab sections are going to be required for my attendance. So this is a way that I'm kind of blending my synchronous and asynchronous. They have their assignments and where to complete them, and then they have a challenge. And so I have each of my modules completely set up for this. So they start out with the learning objectives, and then weekly checklists, and again over here, their dates, what they're doing, and how to earn the specific grade they want, which I think is really powerful. Do these 4 things and you get a C. Do these 5 things and get a B. Do these 5 things and get an A, which I think is a really powerful way to grade. And to help them keep track of this, I actually have a tab over here called Module Grade Tracking. And this has the specs for each module broken down into kind of progress bars. So each time they submit an assignment, they can put an X here on it, or what I encourage students to do is highlight. So they can click on a cell, they can highlight their way for each assignment they complete until they've completed the amount needed to get a certain grade. The labs they can highlight and complete as they do them, attending those mandatory sessions that are detailed there, and they can highlight it, and their goal is basically to fill up an entire bar. So maybe this student was able to achieve these things, and you could see that the entire B column is highlighted for this student, and they would receive a B for this module grade, which automatically comes over here to help them with their final grade breakdown. Again, trying to make a lot of this easy to use on the students and let them navigate through the course. And my students have responded that they absolutely love these module maps, especially for this asynchronous blended online learning where they have more autonomy than ever before. This kind of weekly checklist really helps them out. And so if you are interested in this module map, in the description below, I'll actually have a link where you can download it and adapt it to your own class. So if you're interested in this file, this module map file for you to use however you want to adapt to your class, it's in the description below. I'd love to hear or even see how you're using it. All right, let's go back to the course. So this is embedded here for them to easily access when they come to course material. They can flip through it, navigate all the way through and around this. Again, trying to make things smooth and easy for my students. But after this, we just have folders for each of the modules with the corresponding dates associated with it. So let's go here into Module 2. Now you'll notice that week 11 is at the top, week 10, week 9, week 8, week 7. And the reason I'm doing this is they're hidden from students until 1 week before. So I'm only going to give them up to 1 week ahead of where we're at in the course, because I want us to stay together and conversations to stay relevant to the material we're working on. So week 7 will appear first, which means it'll be at the very top of what the students see. And then when week 8 appears, it will be above week 7, which week 8 won't appear until we're working in it. So it keeps the relevant material at the very top of Blackboard to make it easy so they don't have to go digging through it. Let's go ahead and look here at week 9. You can see that there are links to watch their videos. Again, they can go to links over here on the left. They could bookmark that website. They could go to it from those opening slides, or even within the week-to-week things, there's the links to each of these videos. So if they click out, it's locked. They'd have to sign in to do this, but they'd be able to access that content. And if you notice, one of the great things here is if we come over here to Module 2, Week 9, we'll notice it says recommended rewatch of forces, inertia, mass, and weight, Newton's laws of motion, ground reaction force, and these are all in the exact same order they appear on the module map. So students are able to follow the module map piece by piece, and I'll see that same structure here in Blackboard. Again, making it easy and smooth to navigate, to make that not a determinant of success. I want content to be the determinant of success, not how well they can navigate my Blackboard. We have folders for the assignments, and I do this for a reason. When I click in here, you'll see that there is a submission link, and there is the actual document itself. This way, if I ever need to update the document, they have the updated document, and I don't have to redo the assignment. But also, when I go to course copy this out of Blackboard, the submission links actually don't copy between sections. And so what I'd have to do is go reload all those files. This way, the file being separate from the assignment does, and it makes it nice and clear. This is a download. When we are now concerned with students' availability for internet and internet bandwidth, it's important to let them know what they're getting into. So this is a download. If I click this button, it's going to download something. This is just going to take me to a link to submit. Differentiating those is a really powerful way to support your students. And so if we look at this assignment, I'm going to download it and open it here for you. This is an example of what I do with my assignments. Every assignment in my class starts with assignment goals. So getting students focused on why are we doing this assignment and what is important about it. And then there meets expectations. So they're able to see exactly what they need to do to get credit for this assignment. And then I also link, again, related videos to that assignment back to that website to help them know exactly the content they should be focusing on to work through this assignment. And then there's the assignment and trying to be a good role model of citing where I got images. I have that right there. So this is an example of one of the assignments that a student would see in my course. Now we're almost to the end of it, but again, we have everything nice and laid out. We have all the weeks with those same big goals, ideas, themes for the week that correspond to the module map. And once you're into a module, there's only 5 places you can go. So things stay pretty straightforward. It's easy to navigate this course, and that is my goal. So again, back to the course content, there's the module map that they can interact with right there. There's their weekly module or their semesterly modules and the dates that correspond to them. And I just really have put a lot of hard work into this course to make it well structured so that students can easily navigate through it and focus on the content and not figuring out what I want from them or figuring out what they need to do to succeed. They can focus on the content. And so I really hope that this was helpful to you. I absolutely love these embedded slides. The ideas and the things you can do with them are huge, especially since they play automatically. So I would love to know what you found inspiring or useful in this little overview, and I'd love to see screenshots or little videos in the comments below of how you're implementing it in your own course. Again, like and subscribe, that really helps me as the content creator here, and I wish you all the best of luck as you finalize your plans for fall 2020 and beyond.